Welcome guys. Today we are going to be making a cowl neck top. It is really easy and beginner friendly. Over here is 2 yards of Duchess fabric. I'll advise you make use of a soft fabric because if you use a thick one, you might not get the cowl effect. So you can make use of silk, Duchess, rayon, or soft knit. Like the fabric just needs to be soft. Chiffon too can fly, like it can really do the work as well. You just need something soft to make the cowl effect to come out, because if you use a thick fabric, you will not like the outcome afterwards. So we are just going to draft our patterns now, and let's get started. So this pattern is a dietless bodice, so we can use it for both our front and our back. So first, I will just go ahead to mark my top line where all my measurements are going to start from. I'll use that out. Just basically making just a rule, like a straight line, so that I can start my measurement. My shoulder measurement is 15, and 15 divided by 2 is going to give me 7.5, and I'll mark that down, coming down from this point by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Next, I am going to mark my neck width and my neck depth. So starting from this edge of the paper that is considered to be our center front or center back, we are going to mark 3 inches by 2 inches. So 3 inches width and 2 inches depth. So I'll connect. Next, I would, from this neck point, I'm going to come down, like connect to this line. So now that we have it, we are going to get our armhole depth. To get our armhole depth, the standard is by dividing our bust measurement by 6 and adding 1.5 inches to it. My bust measurement is 36. 36 divided by 6 is going to give us 6 plus 1.5. So 1.5 is 7.5. So from this point here, I'm going to mark 7.5 inches. Then I just drew my line. Now I'm just going to square this out, and this is going to be my chest line. So let me just write CH here. After this, I will mark my bust point. That's from this top line to my bust point, and it's 10. And I'll mark my waist. My waist is 17, and the full length of my top is going to be 23. So I'll just square these parts out. So now that I've gotten my full bodice, I'm just going to mark my vertical measurement. My bust is 36. 36 divided by 4 is going to give me 9, and at this point I'm just going to mark 9 inches. My waist is 29. 29 divided by 4 is going to give me 7.375, which is just mark it at 3.4, and I'll do that now. Then full length, like the top length, I'm going to be making use of 36. 36 divided by 4 is going to give me 9. Why I'm making use of 36 is because my hip is 39 and the top is not getting to my hip area, so I don't want it so big. I just remove 3 inches of it so that it can just sit. So now this point, I'm just going to go ahead to connect this point. The top we are making doesn't have a zipper, so it has to be free for us to wear it and for us to be comfortable in it. So for that, I'm going to be adding 2 inches for my allowance. So I'm just adding 2 inches for my allowance. And I'm going to curve as well. So to give this bottom part a little bit of curve, I'm just going to go up by 1 inch and I'll curve this way. So I went up by 1 inch and it's looking too high, so I'm going to mark half an inch and I'm just going to mark half an inch and I'll curve. Just make a slight curve just to make the finish look good. So this is better now. Lastly, we are going to curve our armhole. So what we need to do now is to look for the midpoint of this armhole. I'm having 7.5 here and just look for the midpoint. So from this point I use my curve. From this point I use my curve ruler and connect. First point that I did, I do not like it. Almost no. So yeah, now this is it. So this pattern we are going to use it for our front and our back bodies. So I'll just go ahead to cut it out. I'll just label this again. So this is my chest line, my bust point, my waist, and my top length. So what I'm going to do right now is to cut this pattern on my fabric. So we're going to cut the back pattern first. I've placed the pattern on the fabric, so this is going to be my back pattern. We're going to cut the back pattern first. So please do well to pin because this fabric is really soft and you don't want your pattern moving. So I'm just going to go ahead now to cut. Now I've cut my back fabric. I'm just going to keep it aside, like remove this pattern and keep it aside. I'll make use of the front. I'll make use of this pattern to cut the front. Now to cut the front, we're just going to make a line from this point to the armhole point. That's from the bust point to the armhole point. So this is just what we're going to do. Just this line, and we're going to slash it open. So we're cutting it to this point, not through. So I cut it to this point. As you can see now, the pattern can spread open as much as you want. So I'm just going to place this on my fabric. Now that I've placed it, I'm just going to spread this to how wide I want it. So I'm going to spread this slashed part out. I'm just going to check how wide this is. And from this point, I'm having 9 inches. And 9 inches is fine for me. I don't want it so wide. So from that point, I'm just going to make a straight line. I'll just have to pin this down so that it doesn't move. So I'm just going to make a straight line from this my neck point straight. I know that it's looking as though it's going to cut it off, but it doesn't mean. You just need to make that straight line this way. Next, I'm just going to mark all the points out. Trace it because we're going to cut it out. So I'm lifting this up because I don't want to ruin my pattern. So I'm just going to cut this way. And next I'm going to notch where my shoulder tip is. Very important, so that when you are joining it can align with the back. So I've made that notch there. we'll just take out the pattern. Now this is the back and this is our front. Like I earlier said, it's nice to make that notch to know where the sleeve started from. So from this point, this is how it's looking, and so you can see that this other part has draped downwards. So now we're going to cut our facing for the front, and for the back I'm going to be using a bias tape. I also use the bias tape for the hem of the top. I'm cutting the facing now and I'm stopping right beneath the armhole. So this is our facing for the back. Lastly, we are going to be cutting the sleeve.
I didn't realize that it wasn't recording while cutting the sleeve. So what I basically did was to cut out 27 inches long sleeve. I didn't shape in it because we're going to be adding an elastic to the hem part, so you need it wide. So that's just basically what I did.
For my top, I'm just going to sew this facing from this point to this notch point which I made. I'm just going to sew it straight down. I've joined the front with the facing. This is how it's looking. I ironed it. I ironed the facing with a hemming gum so that it lays really flat. Please do not top stitch, because if you top stitch, since it's a cowl neck dress, the lines from the top stitching is going to show here and you will not like the result. It's best to just use a hemming gum to iron it so that it's smooth. And I've gone ahead as well to sew my bias to my back neckline. So to close the shoulder, I'm going to sandwich the back into the front. So this is my back. I'm going to put it this way at the edge and turn it, and I'm sewing it this way so that you don't get to see where you sewed the shoulder from, and it's neater that way. So I'll just do that and come back and show you the result. I have joined the shoulder line and this is how beautiful it's looking. Look at the inside. So you don't get to see where you joined the shoulders from. So next I am going to go ahead to fix the sleeve, and all I'll just do is to fix it this way. This is where I notched from the sleeve. I'll just do a gathers stitch to this point and sew it. So guys, I have fixed the sleeves. As you can see, I will just go ahead now to stitch this down this way. I'll do that to the other side, hem it down and also fix the elastic.
This is the final look, guys. I hope you love it. Thank you so much for watching. So please do well to like, share and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next one.